We're trying out a new channel here. We're going to be going over a bunch of topics relating to where we are in the world and geopolitics, global economy, Trump, Mr. B. Oh wait, we're not on YouTube. We can say Biden. um, but oh, give me a second here. If anybody is out in the chat and you guys can hear well, give me a 5x5. Let us know you're hearing us well and there's no lag. We're just going to go ahead and go live and just talk about a bunch of random stuff. My name's Dylan. This is Thomas. What do you want to talk
What's
about?
up, guys? So honestly, man, I just want to kind of I don't want to be like asked the dicking question, but what the hell have you been up to the whole time? I haven't really heard anything about what you're up to besides the crypto and stuff. Like, how's life going for you?
It's going well, man. About 2.5 years ago, I needed to get out of Reno, Nevada. I had a bunch of crazy friends. I was DJing. I was signed to several labels. I was doing a bunch of tours, but living in Reno as home base. So I'd always come back there. I'd always come home to a partying household, and it's like the party never stopped, dude. I'd get back from tour, and we'd have the DJ stuff set up there, and we'd just keep partying. But I woke the fuck up, and I said, this isn't for me, man. I started disagreeing with a lot of opinions of my friends. Now, bear in mind, if you guys don't know where Reno, Nevada is, it's pretty fucking close to California. So I began noticing that.
It's the armpit of Nevada.
Yeah, seriously. And then you got Tahoe, which is pretty nice, but that's when that's the gateway.
Carson City's the tank. If I can say that word on this channel.
The glory about Theta is actually a decentralization, so freedom of speech. Say whatever the hell you want. But
Really?
yeah, man, I got out of there and I stayed in Nevada, but I got 400 miles away, and I showed up, turned off my messages, deleted a bunch of numbers, and focused on myself for 2.5 years, and it was the best thing for me. What about you?
Sure. What about me? For me, it really kind of kicked off when I also got out of Nevada. It was just a shithole to be in, man. I love the people there. I love the life I lived there. But I was getting very dangerous, and I was doing my own thing, being real stupid. I mean, you knew me back then. I was not, a great guy. But I just needed to get out. I didn't really have a purpose or a reason to live. I just did whatever I wanted, and that was it.
Well said.
But I met this beautiful woman who really kind of just came into my world and gave me a reason to live and took care of me and helped me jump away from a lot of that life, and then ended up knocking her up. And I was like, well, I can't get a job out here because everybody knows me. She couldn't get a job because the employer found out that she knew me, and it was just a shitstorm. So we roamed around, did the street thing for a while, and finally made our way out to Texas, which was the best thing to ever happen for us. Got work, started taking care of everything. Ended up with some property once we got out of Houston, which was also a shithole. Houston's pretty rough.
I heard that.
We got out here in the middle of nowhere in Deep East Texas, and it is beautiful. There's nothing. Well, there's a lot of crackheads running around, but that's it. But nowadays, that's everywhere, right?
That's what I was about to say. It seems like anywhere you go, you got to remember too. I think a lot of people here, not to interrupt our personal stories, but the issues that we're seeing now in the world, they were here pre-2020. This has been a snowball effect. It's a compound effect of everything. People have been losing homes, losing jobs for quite a while, and obviously in blue ran states first, especially when Trump is still holding office. However you want to look at that there, but
Oh, we'll go into that later.
right.
I see it a certain way.
Oh, here we go. Hold on. Give us Willow Duster. If you can hear us well, you mind giving us a 5x5 or thumbs up or something? Let us know it's all coming through clear.
For real, man. I just want to know. I see myself moving here, but way back in the background. But I might just be tripping on my screen again.
I don't have much
See,
of a
I've got-
lag
I've
over
got-
here.
I've got two. I don't know why I put up my camera. All you see is my hand. But I've got two screens that I'm looking at. One is real time, and then one is way lagged. So I don't know which one I'm paying attention to.
Interesting. You have two screens of the same, like both of us, or what?
Copy, yeah, both of us. Or no, I'm sorry. It's both of me. Two of me is what I'm trying to say.
Interesting. You should be able. There might be a selection to go full screen for your end to be able to just see me or just see you without a double
Just
image.
you. I clicked on you, and it got upset. So I'm not going to touch anything else. I'm just going to deal with it.
I'll have to
Because
mess
it
up.
was a lot of work to get here.
Yeah, right. Well, it looks like Willow Duster can hear us. Thank you, Willow Duster, for tuning in. This is the first
Love the name, by
broadcast.
the way.
What's that, Thomas?
Said I love the name, by the way.
Yeah, it's an awesome name. Willow Duster. Wicked. And also, I'll let you guys know. Whoa, I just phased out hardcore. That was a trip. Willow Duster, if you guys do tip, anybody who does tip T-Fuel, I'll be splitting the T-Fuel with Thomas as well. And any other people that I have on my channel here. If I'm running with a guest, I'll be splitting the T-Fuel profits with them each month when they do the payout. Thomas, if you didn't know, Theta actually has one of the benefits of its system is that it has the T-Fuel token. So when you're watching somebody or watching us, for example, you can tip them and through cryptocurrency, which is T-Fuel, and then once a month they go
Okay,
through
yes.
and you can withdraw it and disperse the funds. So
Oh, that's pretty cool.
totally monetization, decentralized monetization. But where else were we
I
going?
like the idea of that. That's really cool.
Right.
I was wondering what the T-Fuel was, but then you went right into explaining it, so that worked out.
So yeah, there's two tokens. You can call Theta the main. Theta is basically the system that we're doing this live stream through. Not only are individuals like ourselves using this, but MGM Studios has now partnered up with them. Sony Entertainment, the U.S. government, multiple entities are all streaming through Theta. And basically, there is no one server. So if somebody wanted to go, if the government wanted to crack down on Theta, well, everybody has a copy of the server. If you're on the Theta network, you're contributing broadband to the network. And that's how they reward you through T-Fuel and shit like that. Even if you're just watching videos, like how we watch videos on YouTube, we don't ever get paid for that shit. Somebody else does. So they changed that, and you actually earn T-Fuel through watching videos as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you basically, in a quantum gathering, you are the server.
Yeah, everybody has a copy of the blockchain, the data. So if my computer, if it fell on the ground and it broke, there's somebody else probably 5 miles away that's also sharing broadband, and everything's all saved on there, you know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And it's also encrypted, so the more people that also join Theta TV, they actually add stronger encryption to the network, making it harder and harder to break into. When it's already ridiculously hard to hack into anyways. It's basically the same protocol as Bitcoin.
So it's like a VPN for that system then?
You can basically call it that, yeah. In a very simplified term, yeah. And each member that adds on, it strengthens.
Technical term you'll get from me is overly simplified when it comes to technology.
Yeah. It's been a long
I'll
week
be
too.
coming
So
at like an 8-year-old.
right? I'm pretty brain shot myself right now, so I apologize. I've been drinking most of the day, just trying to get this shit handled and hooked up while trading.
Hey, at least you're being honest. That's what's cool.
Yeah, you gotta be, man. You gotta be. We live in a world full of vipers, it seems like.
Real talk. I actually chose not to start drinking until I'd say 1 today. I looked at the clock and it was like 12:30. I was like, oh hell no, it's too early. And then 1 o'clock came around. I was like, here we go.
Hell yeah. I think I cracked my first one at like 10. Bitcoin started to do a heavy
That's
correction.
fever right there.
What's that?
I said, you're a trooper right there.
Yeah. Look, everybody. You guys see I don't have my fucking front teeth. I'm about to go get them fixed. But
Oh, did you lose it?
yeah, man, rock climbing. That was another hobby I got into when I moved down here. I got back into rock climbing. I don't want to necessarily disclose my full location, but I am in southern Nevada,
Understood.
outside of Red Rock, one of the country's, North America's best places for rock climbing. So I got heavy into that.
That's a new way to find yourself and be in touch.
Oh yeah, dude.
Full
Nothing like
grounding
dropping.
right there.
Shit. It's one hell of a high, better than any drugs in my opinion.
For real, for real. Yeah, you gotta once you get up there, you gotta start doing barefoot so you can really ground with it.
Right? Fuck. Well, what's your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on this situation? What do you think about Mr. B?
Mr. B 3.0.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's glitchy as fuck. The second one was pretty interesting too. The first one, he was the real piece of shit. But you know, even with him, if you really believe in all the technologies that we use and the cloning programs and such and so on, you've got, you know, at one point they reported they had 19 different Obamas
Wow.
ready to go, actors alike. It was pretty wild when they were talking about that.
Now, when you say clones, are these coming from a certain agency within the government? Is there one certain branch that's really dealing with this kind of stuff? Have you noticed a pattern at all?
I don't want to get to start trying to lie about it. You know, I don't know fully where they come from or who does it, but as far as I understand, it's through the Khazarian Mafia. They run everything. They're the ones who had crushed the original superpower, which was Tartaria, which is where we all came from. But that's a whole different pill to swallow there. So they've been in power for over 1,400 years, just completely running everything. They run the royal families. They run through the bloodlines, the draconian lines. I mean, everything trickles down from there. That's their main power source. That's who's in charge, you know. And they've got their faces. You know, you'll have Soros, and now apparently Soros is gone, so his son is running shit.
Right.
And I never did my due diligence on that. I don't know anything about his son or what he's involved with. I probably should look into that. But to be fully honest, no, I don't know where they come from. All I know is we've got what we've been calling deep state black hat movements, and the people who are really in charge are doing a lot of these through their own space programs and things like that.
Right.
But as far as I know, we've been doing cloning since the 1930s. So it's never been new technology. And my own theories are they pull clones from the placentas they take from mothers in hospitals after babies are born. They're just data mining humanity, basically.
Right.
And just they're gonna have doubles, triples of everybody they have around them, you know. And then they've got other technology. You know, I've heard a lot of people talking about the masks that they have. You know, you'll see the Pope he was a meme for a long time where he was grabbing at his nose and pulling it out, stretching it, and stretching out his face. And
Right.
yeah, looking creepy as shit doing that Pinocchio stuff. And even when he pulled his face out, what it reminded me of right away, do you remember the old silent cartoons with the black and white agents?
Yeah, the Two Spies or something, right? What was it called?
Yes, that's what I'm always telling people to think of. When they're looking at this movement, think of it. That's what they're trying to tell you. That was during people when those came out. That was them signaling. And I'll tell you this, it's always been that way. Through movies, television, sitcoms, things like that, they're always programming. There was a, what do you call it, a documentary that came out called Dark to Light, where some guys came out really talking about that. He was a stuntman and did all these different characters and was in different movies and moved his way up and ended up seeing what the inside of the beast really looked like, and saw a lot of the child issues that they had going on. I keep forgetting that I can say these things.
Right. I forget that guy's name, but yeah, he's handicapped now, isn't he? If I recall.
Oh God, I don't know. I don't
The
know.
dark,
He
yeah, it's
seemed
the
pretty
dark to
lively.
light guy. I'm pretty sure he's handicapped. I remember I watched a few interviews of him just before he released that film. I haven't seen Dark to Light yet, but I believe he is
It's
handicapped. But
it's
he was, like you said, he was
it's
involved in
one
the
of those
community for a long time, doing stunt devil work and
heavily.
all that.
Yeah, heavily. And he did a lot of pushing to overturn a lot of information and get people to turn head and look and see in his direction what he was seeing inside of Hollywood and who the real actors were and what they were doing and the pacts they would make and just the satanic ritual abuse of children. Really, it's their lifeblood. It's what they use.
Right.
So it's more than a commodity to them. It's a life force. It's a currency. If they don't have it, they don't exist.
Right. So like if you were, it's like a vampire. Once you switch over or something, you can't. You
100%.
gotta have your blood. Literally.
100%. That's exactly what it is. And they when they choose to use, when they choose to get that, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. That adrenochrome.
There it is.
When they come out with that adrenochrome, where they're what do they want to call them? ADR pouches.
Right. Right.
Yeah. When they're getting that, that's what keeps them up and keeps them running. That's what keeps them looking young. There's a lot of them out there who, there's a reason they never age. There's a reason that we found these guys when they were in their 30s when we were kids. They're in their 50s now and they still look like they're in their 30s. Now we're in our 30s and we're looking like them in their 50s. Like it's ridiculous.
Kind of like Prince Charles, huh?
Yeah, Prince Charles, and you can also tell. Look at it hurt me to find out about it, but Bill Murray, man,
Yeah.
that motherfucker always looked young and vibrant and ready to go, right? And then once about 2017, he started rapidly declining, getting sick. Look at him now, man.
It's like it all caught up to him within 5 years, man.
It always does. But that's because his supply got cut, and they were forced to switch to animal dosage, which one makes you very sick because you're consuming animal blood.
Okay.
Which, if you take it through the Bible, the Bible says you don't eat or drink of blood. There's a reason for that. That's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And the Bible is a weird one too. I spent a long time tearing into the Bible, saying it was, there to just control us and things like that. But as I started going through this movement and figuring things out, I started to realize, it's the fucking hitchhiker's path. It's the hitchhiker's galaxy.
I couldn't agree more. I feel like there's so much in there. It covers, like you said, it's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It also explains trust agreements. When God first granted domain to Adam and Eve of the land, the water, the air, and the thing that creepeth, that's actually the formation of the first trust. It's a trust agreement. And man needed to... the Vatican actually came along and offered man the opportunity for them to pay the dues of man that are due. They tricked him into it. That's something I'd actually really love to go over, maybe on the next episode or another, but that's a whole long one, getting into trust agreements and Article 1 jurisdiction versus Article 3, living your life in the private versus public, all that stuff. But it goes all the way back to the Bible, dude. I feel like it's a textbook for everything, and we're missing so many books out of it, too. So...
It's see that's what I wanted to get into. So
I would have to say the most commonly known would be the Book of Enoch, which a lot of people now seem to have a bit of knowledge into.
Yes, yeah.
But what do you have to say on it, sir?
Oh, no, I was just listening to you. I thought you were gonna start naming some names.
Oh.
Yeah, the Book of Enoch was, it gets everybody. That's the first one you start hearing about and paying attention to. And then you've also got the Dead Sea Scrolls. You've got
Right. Which we just found more of.
Yes, I heard that. And then the I'm gonna butcher, but the Mahananaptra, whatever. I'm gonna look like I'm going into a seizure trying to come up with that name, but it's the Hindu version of the Bible, and it
Yeah,
actually correlates heavily with the same stories. But if you look at all the religions have the same goddamn stories, just different bad guys. Like you have Quetzalcoatl, who was supposed to be a bringer of light, and at the same time, he was also their destroyer.
we're
So
talking about Hindu, right? Still.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the Aztec after that, the Quetzalcoatl.
Okay.
Um, was it Aztec or Mayan? I always get those confused. But he's a big ass bird looking dude who's got nothing but the desire to cause war or mayhem now, which is kind of what they discovered because they couldn't get any powers. They were heavily relying on sacrifice and things like that because they had gone astray from what they had learned, which is the same that happened with the Anasazi Indians. They did the same thing. And if you want to take it even further than that, then you can look into the Druids. Who were the Druids? Where did they come from? Where did they pull their power? You know, we had the ancient Irish, and then we had the Druids come from the ancient Irish. The ancient Irish also got called the Phoenicians.
Right.
Um,
And this is getting
so
into Tartars, right?
yeah, the Tartars, Tartaria, the Tartarian realm, things like that. It all intertwines in our story because the only stuff that we really know about our story is what we're allowed to know. And even when we go out of our way to find this information, you'll never find any information unless that the powers that be are willing for you to see it. If it's part of the plan to be able to see it.
Right.
And I feel like worldwide we've now been awakened to the Q movement, things like that. Like, yes, that's awesome. It is a movement. It came out of nowhere, and it has been very successful. It's got a lot of information, but even with us getting this information has always been coming to us. They just brought it to light because people weren't paying attention.
Right.
There's always been two sides. There's always been a fight going on. We've always been able to see this happening, but we never wanted to because it's uncomfortable. So we let it get this far to where now the Fourth Reich is running 90% of everything, and we've been trying for the past since 2017 to really take them out. In 16, Trump had the ability to take everything down. From everything that I've heard, from everything you've listened to, or for everything you've watched, all the research you've done, everything I've done, it's all been said that Trump had everybody figured out. Everybody knew what was going on. All the main players, from child sex trafficking to voter fraud to embezzling guns and ammo and drug trade through what was it? Fast and Furious. And
Oh
then,
yeah, when they got caught up with fucking Hillary.
And then, well, Obama was just a dirty player anyway, but he was so
Oh yeah.
in your face about it. It was just completely different.
I feel like that was a lot of the point of his presidency, though. They already had their foot in the door. I mean, obviously they didn't see Trump coming, but I just don't understand why they didn't execute everything before the end of his term, before Obama's end. But I mean, that's the powers that be, like dark forces. They always think that they're so far ahead. They don't think about.
Well, they always have been. They've
Right.
always been so far ahead. There was never enough strength in the ground, and we saw that with if you, it's a whole nother world. But if you want to talk about Saint Germain, he was one of the first warriors for light. He was an ascended master. He paid his dues. He did what he had to do. He went all over the world. He created the Immortality Stone. He did all of that. He created several works of music, art. He changed the world the way it was, and he stopped so many wars that were going to happen, so many revolutions. But then also in his way through, he was telling people, don't do this. He talked to the Queen in his time, I believe Queen Elizabeth, and was trying to inform her that she shouldn't be making certain decisions in her role. And she kind of played him off. But he was big with all of the elites of that time. Everybody knew him. Everybody would brush shoulders with him, and he was an advisor multiple times. But he would also he never aged. He was always young. He had immortality. He was truly ascended, much like Jesus was, you know.
Hmm.
And it just it all starts kind of back at that time. But there's any time you see prolific just names that are more than household names, they're names that are revered.
Right. Right.
Throughout history, these people become either dictators, leaders, or saviors, but they all end up being martyrs for their own cause.
Such
Um,
truth.
and the ones who have impacted society the most are the ones who we look to, and we turn them into saints. We tell stories about them, compare kids' lives to them, create superheroes movies, things like that, for what were regular everyday people who decided that they could be something more because they were told from day one inside their soul that there was more to them.
Wowza, man.
And these are the forces of light that I'm talking about, and they have been fighting very heavily, especially in the past probably 100 years. They've really been pushing forward because there's a reset basically every 80 years. But the past about 100 years, they have been infiltrating the infiltrators. The good have been getting in with the bad, and from dark to light. You have to go through the dark to see the light. It's said all the time, but it's not. It's everything has at least three meanings, right? So from dark to light, you can rise from the darkness, like the phoenix, and do all that cool shit, or you can climb out of your hole and just start to wake up and see, or you have to get into the darkness to draw out the light. Because light's in everything. Light is energy. Light is life force.
Yes.
These people only have their power because of their dark magic, their sacrifices, the power that they bring into this 3D realm of ours. That's how they're able to stay where they are in power. It's all games. It's all mind games. It's all mind control. And they've mastered this. They've infiltrated our schools, our churches, our places of higher learning, our government. And what's even worse is they told us. They told us that they would do that.
Right. It leads all the way back to
And
what we were talking about with the devil always has to ask permission.
exactly. I was just going to get to that. And yes, exactly, 100%. It's part of the ancient agreement between God and the devil. If you want to go down that road, because God and the devil are actually, like a lot of people say, it's all one. It's all one force, but it comes from two different aspects. And you've got good and you've got evil. Without evil, you have no reference for good. There's no law. Without good, you have no way to regulate this evil. But without that duality, there's no sense. There's no common sense. There's no decency. There's no ignorance. There's no joy. There's no response. You have a dead world.
Yeah.
You need that duality, and that's what people started getting to. But every time people start to get to that and start to weed out the darkness from the light and start to see, then we get a reset. We get a world war. Every time humanity starts to try to stand up for itself, we are the last race, We're the last step before we have our final ascension to something better, something greater. And everybody's waiting on us.
Right.
And it's not just that us as humans are ignorant or stupid, but we're kept that way. We were so much greater than what we are now. But those abilities were torn away from us. And like you were mentioning with the Bible. So Emperor Constantine was 100% an evil motherfucker. And he raped the Bible. He took so many books out of it. And he was even quoted saying, if men can see what they can do, they will no longer fear us. We will no longer have control. And that's whenever he started removing books of the Bible. He started doing the crusades, and in these crusades, you know, we had the Knights Templar that came out of this. The Knights Templar wasn't through him; it was through the sect of the church that had given them the power. But they were actually a political class. They had started their own military, basically, and that was their force that they used to go into other towns and other settlements. And not only were they soldiers and really just workers of God, but they were also mercenaries. Right. So they would get chosen by other churches, other people, but they started getting used as a hit squad for the church. And their goal was changed, and whenever they ended up in Muslim territory, that's whenever they were completely disbanded. They were there for some 400 or 500 years or something like that, just dealing with that, but ingraining into that culture, that Muslim culture. And that's where you start to see the Baphomet and where it came from. And the Baphomet truly was a symbol of duality. It wasn't evil or anything like that, but Baphomet, the name, actually came from a mistranslation, which whenever they were talking about Muhammad,
really?
The Prophet Muhammad, Baphomet is what ended up coming out of that. But they were so scared that people would start reading into Muhammad and finding out who Muhammad was and finding a back door to the truth around what the church was pushing.
Wow.
So they had to turn them into traitors, basically. Traitors against the crown, traitors against God, traitors against humanity. And that's what happened to the Knights Templar. And then after that, the Knights Templar was re-risen in different groups, and that's where you get the Illuminati, that's where you get the King Circles, Knights of the Dragon Circle, all these different groups. They're all evil, malicious forces. They're
just
all
splinters off of the same thing.
Huh?
Just splinters off the same thing.
Yeah, always. It just grows. It's like a virus.
Yeah.
And
well put.
it works a lot like you'd see in your world in the trading realm and all that. You know, looking at Wall Street and things like that. It's the only machine that's ran by emotion.
Yeah.
100%. It runs on emotion and feelings and where people stand and what their fears are and how much they have in the game, how much skin do they really got. It works much that way because you'll see a rise and fall depending on who thinks who is winning.
Right.
Where your confidence level or buying prowess is, you know. If you feel like the good is winning, you start getting more and more people coming up onto these chats, making videos, things like that. But when the hammer comes down on us, which it will, we're in a war.
Yep.
You know, we're going to have setbacks. And when we do, more and more people drop. And then when they start hearing, oh, well, everybody all did the work for you. You didn't have to read. You didn't have to research. You didn't have to do anything, but we all did it for you. And then they're, oh, cool. Well, I'm back then. I'm a believer. And it's like, okay, man, you do you. And
right.
We'll just be here trying to figure out what the fuck we're doing. But there's a lot into it. And I'm definitely kind of just rambling. So stop me anytime, man. I'm just
No, I'm loving it, dude. I'm loving it. My brain, like I said earlier, my brain's super shot right now. So I'm loving that you're able to talk. I'm gonna Willow Duster. I'm gonna actually go ahead and throw a link in the chat. Thomas had covered a few things throughout that conversation right now that is eerily relatable to this video that came out probably about 9 years ago. It's called I Pet Goats Too. You ever seen that, Thomas?
I've heard of. No, I was thinking Minister Goats.
It is wild, man. I'll have to send it to you after the show. But it's an animation, total predictive programming. But it's a mindfuck when you look at the date that it was posted. It was supposed to be a college. What was it? It was like a. It was supposed to be a big college art project, but some weird shit. But I'm gonna throw that in there for you, Willow Duster. Go ahead and watch that. That'll fucking trip you out. That at least, if you don't know what we're talking about, because I see that you haven't commented much, you're probably like, but you're still here, you're probably like, what the fuck's going on? So if you have questions and stuff, feel free to hit the chat. we'll talk about anything you want to ask about.
For real, yeah. Or one viewer.
Right? We got one one follower, one viewer. Got to start somewhere.
That's it though. That's all it takes though. Just one at a time, man.
Absolutely.
And I'm honored that they're willing to look at us. There's so many other people out there that have substantiated content that they are blowing out every day.
You want to list off a couple
started
people in
looking-
case she is interested in looking at others as well?
Yeah, of course.
I would
You've got
Go ahead.
Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter. He's a good one to follow. There's several groups that I follow, and I get my main information from. There's a few that I still like to get into just to see where they stand or if they've been infiltrated or not.
Yeah. I would have to say, if you do go out and you go looking for these people, Willow, you're going to come across a few names that seem to hit right off the top. One's Charlie Ward. The guy's a fucking fraud. He's a huge fraud. Another one's Simon Parks. He's just as bad. They're actually selling regular USB drives right now for $350, and they promise that it blocks all 5G contamination to your blood. And all you have to do is carry this flash drive in your pocket. You don't even have to plug it into a fucking computer. And then for $600, you can get the super bonus one that blocks all radiation from your body. The guys are frauds, man. But
Does a pet rock come with that?
yeah, right, for real. So I have a buddy that purchased one just so it could be taken apart, and it's just a plain old flash drive, like a SanDisk fucking drive. Don't even have to plug it in. Cleans your blood out. You're good. Guys are fraud, but everybody's
Yeah.
trying to capitalize in this market.
Of course
So,
they are.
Like
Of course
Thomas
they are.
was
That's
saying,
human
there's a
nature.
lot of information out there, and you have to vet them. You have to vet these people. Don't take their word
100%.
for it. Don't take our word for it. I mean, we're just two guys on here that you've
I'm
never
saying
even
it all the
fucking
time.
met before.
Try to prove me wrong if you can. That's awesome. I need to rethink my decisions in my life and what I'm thinking.
Absolutely.
But always do your own research. Don't ever rely on somebody to give you the news, because eventually they're going to start making it about them. They're going to start putting only their perspective in it because they'll get used to it. You know, everybody does. I check myself all the time, trying to be a little bit more open. And I'm pretty step forward, you know. And I tell people all the time, especially on my channel, I'm an asshole on my channel, but it's my channel. I don't give a shit.
Right.
You know, you can choose to watch it and choose. And if you feel I'm talking rude and it's about you, then you definitely need to be on that channel and paying attention, because I'm trying to help. You know,
There you go.
If you're smart enough to realize I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about other people, then just fucking laugh along and keep going. You know, it's real simple. People are trained to be offended. We have been taught and programmed so many trigger words that will instantly just almost make you sick. You don't even want to hear the next words that are coming out of this person's mouth because they said that one word that you didn't want to hear.
So true. I mean, if you're still sitting here now, Willow Duster, it obviously shows that you have some interest in this stuff. Reach out, go and look at stuff. Hit one of us up. I'll throw my email address in the chat right now. And you can always hit me up if you're curious about this shit. Because I think we're all starting to feel, doesn't matter what side you come of this or wherever the hell you are, I think we all know there's something stirring.
Heavily. If you've got time, if you wanted to do what everybody else is doing and talk about Evergreen and what's going on with those ties and where that came from,
Oh yeah.
that's a big one. That's probably more relatable if people are trying to find some more current news. We started kind of from the back end of it to give you a kind of a preset to what's going on, so that you can get a better picture of what you're looking at now. And when I was talking about the ancient druids and magic, I derailed myself. I went off of that, but and also the Anasazi. See, what these people were doing, were they were pulling power and magic throughout the world. And if you don't think magic exists, you need to figure some shit out. This isn't some Fantasia stuff. This is real life, everyday human energy and interaction. These people know how to open these chakras. They know what they're doing. They know how to make common sense out of it, and they're just as dangerous as any weapon out there.
A good example of magic too, like what Thomas is saying when he says magic, it's not your wands and I mean you have your materialistic items and shit, but it's not your Disney movie shit. A good example of this is even just the ability of psychic power, and one thing I've gotten heavily into in the last year, well shit, almost 2 years now, it's been predictive linguistics, which is they started finding in about the 50s to 60s that if they recorded two people having a conversation over multiple different conversations, every time they use an extraordinary vernacular term, something that just wasn't in the past discussions, they combined all those words, and they found that even though it might not have made a perfect sentence, it did write out in syntax, machine language, and it was actually describing a future event that was about to play out within the next 30 days in their life. And they found that it hit 70% of the time. So with that, what I've been focusing on is actually, I'm working with a gentleman by the name of Cliff High. What he does, he's about 70 years old now. He's been working on computers. He actually taught the government how to like operate a computer. That's the guy who was sent back in the day when computers first hit government offices. He was there to train them. But what he's done is created basically an algorithm that is able to read across the entire internet and grab all of the language, any news article that's published from the beginning of the internet forward, anything that's public information, and it sweeps through that and it grabs extraordinary language, and through that it compiles it into a report. So in 2017 he was doing a report and you would read it and it didn't make fucking sense. Well, 2018 came, still didn't make sense. 2019 started to wrap up, and the 2017 report started playing out almost identically to what was happening, which is similar to what Q was going, what he was doing. So, for example, this WebBot data, it talked about an oncoming sun disease. I wonder what that is, you know? Yeah. It talks about masks, lockdown. It's just so bizarre. And as time's gone on, we keep feeding data sets through this algorithm, and we found that it's becoming rapidly more accurate in its timing. It went from being 30 days, sometimes a little bit more than that, to getting it down to the week, to where now we've gotten it down to the day. So at the beginning of February, we ran a WebBot report through. We ran some data through, which produced a WebBot report, and it talked about emotional tension rise relating to the Federal Reserve, transfers of money, as well as government workers trying to receive their funds. So we're like, interesting, you know, we take note of that, and it pointed that it would land around February 24th, towards the end of the day. So we're like, what the heck, you know, let the month go through. February 24th at about 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Federal Reserve went down, the FedWire. And
on the day.
So we've been nailing this stuff, and the next one was around the dollar, banks, investment. I forget the other term that popped up, but it pointed to March 28th, and we didn't find anything in the headline news too big. But the following morning, we found out that Archegos Trading Fund, it's an investment firm that all the world's largest banks give their money to make their investments for them. So just like how we can go out and get a broker at, like, if we had the money, you would go down to a big banker, right, down in Wall Street, and you would fucking give your money and the broker would do your trades. Well, it's the same thing, same case, but only it's the banks. This guy's handling billions of dollars. What he did is access leverage, which is basically like taking a loan out, but on billions of dollars, and he lost $11 trillion of the banker's money.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's not even out in the fucking news, man. It's like all these things are coming around to collapse the system. You look at the Suez.
And they say that we can't launder money, but they do it every fucking day.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the GameStop fiasco. They all thought GameStop was going to come out.
I definitely want to hear your take on the whole GameStop thing, because I had a whole bunch of different shit come to me out of that, and I was left confused.
It's actually, I love the way it happened. I love the way it happened because it really opened the eyes to the public of what shorting and what naked shorting is. So what occurred there was the public, say younger kids, they all love video games, dude. They're getting involved through Robinhood with the trading and shit. So they saw that GameStop's going public. They loaded the boat, dude. They bought the fuck out of it. Well, the bankers thought this shit's going to go up and it's going to go down, just like any other IPO, which is an initial public offering, which is what usually happens when something hits the market for the first time. Well, it came out.
People have been stimulated in a long time, so it was probably people were ready to buy up on that. So I don't think it would have gone down very quick.
Right. So it went to the fucking moon. Well, what did the bankers did? You can actually do what's called a short. So instead of buying a share of GameStop in the hopes that it goes up, you can buy contracts against those, so that if it goes down, you make the money. Basically the same thing as buying it.
Yes, okay. So you make the difference out of every payout.
Right. So, well, no, you would go. I'm gonna buy this. It's $100, and I know it's gonna go down to $80. So you buy what's called. It's basically a shorting contract, saying it's insurance against the person who bought it. It's totally illegal stuff in my opinion. This is actually it's called derivatives, and it's what caused the market crash in the 20s, and then Clinton legalized it.
The risk out of the market.
What's that?
It sounds like they're trying to take the risk out of the market, which is kind of unfair.
Well, so it actually opens up a bunch of like loopholes and shit, because they can make bank off of this stuff. But what happened is it fucking went to the moon. Well, they started panicking, and it's like if I bought something for $100 and it went down to zero, it goes to zero, and now you lost my money, right? When you short something and it goes up, there's no roof. It can go forever, and your losses are infinite. That's what happened.
Understand.
That's what happened to the bankers, dude. They were losing millions, if not billions, by I think it's been a while now. What's it been? It's been a few weeks, or a month now at least. But I believe what it was something to the tune of each investment firm was losing $5 million every $5 it went up or something like that. And this thing went a lot higher than fucking $5. This shit was topping out at like $600 and shit. So what they did, Robinhood halted trading, dude. Halted trading, all exchanges did, of GameStop, froze it, and then for multiple days held it there. And then they went into people's account, regular people like you and I, and sold their shares of GameStop and sent them an email and said, we did this for your own good. So basically the small guy learned how to beat the system, and they got caught, the bankers got caught with their pants down. But then the government came in and they fucking said, no, we're going to clean this up. Oh no, they can't win. So they halted trading and then sold everybody's shares for them.
So made it very, very obvious though.
So people started asking, well, what else are they doing this with? And that's when people discovered silver. So you can buy silver, physical silver, or more easily, you can hop online and you can buy what's called SLV, which is basically a share of silver. You can buy an ounce of silver digital, and the government promises you that in a bank, they will put away 1 ounce of silver. And if you ever want to cash out and ask for a delivery of it, they promise you that they will deliver it to you. Well, so after the whole GameStop fiasco happened, somebody had the bright idea of saying, well, are they doing this in other markets? So they all sold their SLV shares and demanded delivery. So last month alone, 59 million ounces of silver have been delivered. And the government doesn't even have enough to fulfill the orders of the people that cashed out. So everybody cashed out, and the government's standing there saying, we don't even have a quarter of this. So we're about to see a massive fucking uprising.
Let's take this a step back real quick. And let me, because my mind's running on a different field right now with this. I don't mean to derail you. My boy from Tesla, he apparently was behind a lot of the movement with the Robinhood app, is from what I've heard.
Sorry, we got another guy watching. What was that, Thomas?
Okay, I dropped his name. Yes, Elon.
Yeah, from Tesla.
So I heard that Elon was involved with the Robinhood app.
He's actually best friends with the developer of Robinhood and the main investor. They started Clubhouse, that app, together as well, but they hang
That's
out
awesome.
constantly. Um,
Okay, so that brings my next question then, or the point I'm digging at here. Um, if you remember, probably, wow, Trump was still in office. It was probably 2 years into office. He was going to different nations. He was going to Saudi Arabia, China. He went all over the world and was buying up their shares of silver and gold, but keeping it there. So if he's able to hold the gold from the states, but it belongs to us, but it belongs to the government through the military banks. So we don't get that gold. We can't get to it. We can't get to that silver, but it belongs to us, but it's being held overseas. So the fact that we're not going to be able to, we as the government, not us, but our government can't pay up that debt because they don't have access to those funds. So in my mind, Trump had planned this back from the beginning and held that gold, got it secured, and then set through these plans, which there have been more than just the GameStop version of this. There's been a lot of other ones that have been.
oh yeah.
But seeing where this is going, and then Elon Musk came out to Texas, and he's been red pilling a lot of shit. And I was always kind of curious about him, whether he was a white hat or whether he was a black hat. And I think that he had done a lot of the same moves that Trump had done and got himself with these people, seen what he needed to see. And I'm sure he had his influences there, but I fully believe that he's on our side.
So if you were to look at Elon's past, he comes out of MIT. He basically ran around with Jesus. Why am I forgetting? Fucking Bill Gates.
Yes.
They worked together on a lot of different projects in college. There was another guy, big main dude out of it. Um, Nonetheless, Twitter, Jack Dorsey.
Yeah, that
They
bitch.
all hung out together. So I'm totally with you, dude. I think he was actually a part of that system.
I think he laid with the snakes just to get them tall enough for the mower to come through.
Interesting. I like to believe that he was a snake, and then he said, "Nah, I'm going to step back a little bit."
I could
But
believe that too. Um, Again, I was hesitant about him for sure whenever I found out he was in Haiti,
mhm.
probably 3 years ago, and then Bill Gates had just left Haiti, and we also had, well, the whole Epstein operation was constantly flowing through Haiti. But Elon has
Yeah,
hinted a
dude.
few times that he had seen a lot of things he didn't need to see. But he never. I mean, you know how he is. He's very cryptic. He doesn't say shit that he doesn't want to say.
Right.
But when I look at it, I just see all. I'm a very big picture person. I don't get caught up in all the details, and I try not to get caught up in all the names until they're necessary. Just because it will give you tunnel vision and you will miss so much that's going on. So I try to keep a very broad span on things, which also leaves me crippled to explaining myself fully because I sound like a bumbling idiot because I just go through things that I've seen and I have no sources. I just pay attention. So it's a downfall of mine too because I don't do that kind of work. I dig very deep, but only on certain things, so I can get more of a picture that I'm painting, not so that I can follow one thing. Because this isn't one action. This isn't just one battle. This is the war of wars that we've been having, and I could also attribute it to we're in. If you follow the Bible closely, in the Psalms 21 war, 22, Agog and Magog. I really feel like that's where we are right now.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I could agree.
Excellent. But I just wanted to throw that point out there. I feel like that's kind of where my mind is, and I love the fact that he could have been and likely was, but I can't speak to that. I want to see the best out of everybody. Um, but I could fully believe that he was definitely dark and changed to the light. I could also believe that.
Absolutely.
But to get back to what you were talking about, since I stole 10 minutes from you,
No, dude, you're good. So basically, what we're seeing though is a lot of people they're getting fed up with it, dude. They know that things have been shorted. There's a bunch of naked shorting occurring. So if basically if you bought a share of Apple, there are 5 other people at least that own that same share as you. It's crazy, man. And it's called naked shorting. And these exchanges and bankers
unknowingly.
they'll sell it. They'll sell
So
the same
these
share.
people, you're told that you bought this full share, but 7 other people have also been told they bought that full share.
Right.
So they go on with that buyer's confidence and just keep going with it. But
Yeah.
really, they're just building one share that's going to be split.
Well, it's there if they do choose to cash out, but they do know that most of the people that are buying, especially large shares like that, say of Amazon or something, or Apple, even Tesla, for example, they know that they're going to sit there for a long time. I mean, if you were to pull that investment out before a year, you have to pay a 37% capital gains tax on that. Now, if you hold it for more than a year, you only pay a 10%. So that basically gives these bankers, they know they have a year to basically get the money to the people if they need it. Like, it'll be there as soon as they sell if they want to sell, and they'll take
So
the loss
that's
on their books.
cushion. That's their cushion for the impatient market.
Yeah, and they sit there and they collect all that money, and then they do as they will. I mean, you know, all the black funding and shit, dude.
Oh yeah.
Black op funding. But people are wising up to it, man, and they're starting to get smart. They're demanding physical silver. Anybody that's, let's see, who do we got out there? I'm not even going to try and pronounce your name. I don't want to butcher that. But I would recommend going and getting silver. If you're interested in the stock market or you're interested in crypto, crypto is amazing too, absolutely. I'll talk for days about that, but silver.
Yeah,
Silver,
that's your forte right there, right?
absolutely. Silver is where it's at though right now, and you're not going to find it. If you go on any silver bullion dealer, they only have like buffaloes right now and kookaburras, which is the Australian silver coin. You're not going to find almost anything else.
Now let me ask you this: Is silver worth the same across the board, or is it different versions or different densities and purities?
So what you're gonna usually get is you can get your 1 ounce like coins, 1 ounce bars, or you can go up to 1,000 ounce, and it's the same price all across the board. What right now? Let's see. Well, I can basically list off my head since it's so suppressed. It's about $27 a share of an ounce of silver, and it's been that way for a long time. Look at gold, dude. Gold is like in the $50,000. Silver's sitting down
Yeah.
at 27. You're gonna tell me they're not stomping that out? Like,
They're probably going to try to jump up on that.
they've been pushing it down for so fucking long, because they don't want it to run, dude. And they're sitting there and they're trying to hold as much as they can, and they're loving it because everyone's buying digital copies of silver. They weren't ever asking for physical silver.
Yeah.
Now they have to, and now they're like, fuck, we don't have it. But and just, I mean, quite frankly, if I were to be honest, I believe that it should be a ratio of 4 to 1, silver against gold. It should be so much fucking higher. So much
Yeah.
fucking higher. It is
They're
worth
both
so much
precious
more than
metals.
gold.
They're used everywhere.
What's that?
They're both precious metals. They're used everywhere. They've been highly regarded in our society for thousands of years.
Look at our technology. Most of those motherboards and any technology, any TVs, any computers, cell phones, that's silver, bro. And you're gonna
70% of that is made out of gold.
Yeah, and you get gold too, but gold is nowhere near it's totally like, it's very valuable, absolutely, but nothing like silver, and nothing, we're being lied to about it, man.
At a massive raw potential right now.
Yeah, you're sitting on a gold mine if you had, you're sitting on a gold mine if you're holding silver.
Awesome.
But
Well, I probably need to look in how to invest into silver then.
Yeah, I would do
I've
it.
never really gotten into any of that, but I'm starting to see I need to change in the times because I'm going to be left behind.
Yeah, I mean that's what's pushed me big time with this crypto stuff, especially lately. Over Facebook, as you've seen, I would. I don't want to just survive this and then be sitting there with my chunk of change, being like, "Hell yeah, I made it!" Like, what about everybody else, dude? It fucking sucks. So,
Yeah,
if we can bring everybody with us, might as well. And at the same time, the more you add people to this, the more we're fighting this shit. You know, we're taking it down. We're fighting the
yeah,
cabal. We're taking them one by one.
100%. That's where we are. We're people don't want to hear it because it's been so dramatized all the time. Is that we're in a war right now.
Yeah.
You know, you'll hear fucking golf players walk out and say, "Oh, we're at war." Man, shut the fuck up. You guys are playing a fucking game. This is real life, and I think people take war out of context way too often, and
Yeah.
it really desensitizes you to the idea that this if we don't. Now, I will say I do believe that we have won, and we're just watching this play out. But at the same time, if we get comfortable, if we relax, if we all settle with the fact that, oh no, we're good, we're fine. Everybody said it's fine. Trump's coming back. We're fine. We're just gonna go back to our lives, go back to watching TV. Let's get Hollywood booked up. Why don't we do that? Because I miss that too. You know, you're defeating the purpose. That's why it takes so long. You mentioned earlier, you had said that you were kind of wondering why it didn't happen then, whenever he could have done it.
Mhm.
If he had done it right then, he would have wiped everything out. There would have been a mass awakening and everything else, yes. But at the same time, we'd still have the dumbs uncovered. We'd still have, well, all the evergreen stuff you're seeing. We'd still have all of this evil moving around because, yes, he could stop it, but he's not putting a finish to it because the people didn't have enough interest in it. There wasn't enough of this global force watching, of people who wanted to protect their own lives and their own futures, their families, their livelihood, their survival, their very just right to breathe fresh air. It was on the line, and nobody realized that. So if he had done it, it would have been for nothing because the American people would have done what we do really well and take it for granted and keep going and hope for the best,
Right.
and then blame everybody around us when shit hits the fan because we didn't listen. Because the whole problem is when he's freeing us from this just satanic realm that we live in, well, not just he's not a god. When we are freed from all of this and left to our own devices, the problem with being free is that you're not controlled anymore. That means you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of these people wouldn't be willing to do that. Most of these people wouldn't be able to accept the responsibility of their own freedom to do, say, go, whatever they want to do within their constitutional right. And, you know, there's two different constitutions. Yes, we've got all that. We'll go into that later on.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely not today. We're going to be winding this down, I assume, probably fairly soon because there's so many topics we can get stuck on, but we'll be here for hours.
Right. Right. Yeah. What are we at?
But
We're at an hour right now. So.
are we
that's
really? Wow, it went quick.
That did.
No, you're fun to talk to, man. I haven't seen you in forever.
Oh, you as well. You as well. I have not. I never thought I would be talking to you again, man.
Especially
Honestly.
like this. This is amazing.
It's funny how the world works, dude. It is funny how the world works.
Yeah.
It's even funnier.
Well-
Half the kids in Gardnerville that are. Sorry, guys. Since we're wrapping this up, anybody that's still on here, we're just gonna talk about old times a little bit. But half those kids in Gardnerville, man, that we used to run around town doing the worst of the worst. They're all turned to God, man. They're all the most conscious people that you can meet right now.
It's awesome.
It's wild, and that proves to me more than anything how spiritual this battle is.
Oh, it is. And you can choose whatever part of that side you want to choose. If you want to go with a label and decide Christianity or whatever you want to do, I'd say do it, man. Whatever you want to believe in, as long as it's it's truly good. I call it the universe. I believe fully in the conscious universe. I know that there is a creator. We have full reign over everything we do, and we have our own freedoms and our own abilities to move to different heights that we never even imagined. And most of that was taken from us over our genetic altering and things like that, calcified pineal glands and things like that. But once people start to really pay attention, you can do a lot. I've actually been studying a lot lately on kind of, I messaged you a little bit about it. I don't want to go too far into it because I'm going to sound retarded, but just the whole, I can't even think what it's called, remote viewing. Things like that. I am obsessed with that idea right now, and I think it's super cool. And not just the viewing, but just the opening of yourself, just the change, just the transformation of your mind and body going forward to a newer level. And I can dabble with the fourth dimension and do a few different things that are fun to me. Yeah. That I enjoy, and I see the world differently, and I'm very annoying because of that, because I see things that I'm not supposed to see. But when evil gets sloppy and shits on your doorstep and forgets to clean it up, they left the evidence, man. So what else are you gonna do but figure out whose it was and make them eat it?
Right. Yeah, well said. Well said. And the remote viewing stuff it's amazing how many people are actually discovering that they have these abilities, and it's not like wham bam, here it is. Like you explained, you're going through a spiritual enlightenment through all this too. It's not like you woke up and you all of a sudden had this amazing ability or something. It's progress and strength and belief. It goes. You have to have all of it. I mean, even eating healthy and not smoking cigarettes.
That's my downfall now. I don't know how many cigarettes you've seen me smoke right now, but I'm sure there's plenty.
I still smoke cigarettes as well. So, but that's amazing. Somebody you should look at as well. They do have a YouTube channel. It's called Crypto Viewing, but they don't just only focus on crypto. But it's Dick Algar Remote Viewing, and he works with several individuals in Hawaii. He's been a part of a remote viewing group since the military. He was operating with it, I believe, with the CIA in the 70s. And then he left that, got out of the military, and actually became a weatherman, and started understanding remote viewing on his own terms and trying to separate himself from the government. But it's amazing, dude. And like you said, back to whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it a god or source. I've heard a lot of that talk lately. People saying that they're being contacted by the Galactic Federation and multiple other entities or Anunnaki, and I believe that shit's very real. I think there's people that are here that are not necessarily from here. They were born here, but they are not from here.
100%. It's a rehabilitation of the soul, man. Something else steps in, uses you for a while, becomes your identity. But again, it's willing. It's all due to will. You have to accept that. It's with good and evil. You have to give it permission to act in your life. You have to want that. And you can either go out seeking permission, which is, again, I'll try to get back to it. The Druids, they did that. Okay? They opened themselves to a higher power, but the easiest power to rule, and their idea was power and control. They went to the dark. They started worshiping the ancient gods that were before their gods, and they were doing sacrifices and different things of that sort. There was very much dark magic and cruelty that came through them, and they had really awakened different things from nature that weren't really a presence in their realm at that time, but they brought a lot of different dark forces into this world. And the same with the Anasazi. The Anasazi had done the same. They were praying to their gods, they were doing their thing, and then they had, obviously they had better technology then, and their own technologies, which were worldwide. These beings were very accessible at the time, and they also went through the wrong channel, man, and started bringing different creatures back from the darkness, that were basically coming through vortexes that were created, rips in time and space in their area, and they've got symbols all over the place. That big circular squiggly line, that's a portal, man.
Right, you're talking like stargates and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Stargates. Okay, so they had opened many stargates, and they were overrun and then ruled by the darkness that they stood to take power, and they were run out. That's why they disappeared. They were destroyed by themselves, and then they were forced to move. They were forced to flee. They had to run. They had giants. They
Yeah.
had everything right there. There was a time in the world where everything coexisted. We had ETs living with us. And even then, they weren't called ETs. They were just, hey, brother, what's up? How's it going? Oh, excuse
Right.
me, Dave. Going to the store. I mean, you're talking to a fucking 30-foot alien, but who cares? That's
Yeah.
every day there then. And it was a world of harmony. It was the perfect Zion. It was everything that we had. And you can't throw around that word Zion very, very easily, because it's been changed so many times, and it's definitely a rooted word. I probably shouldn't have used it. It was just a world of perpetual good. Everybody coexisted, and it was perfect. But then it was taken over and destroyed. And if you follow through the Bible, we'll have the thousands of years of good, and then we have the wars, and then we have the rest of the time for humanity to reign. Okay, that's what, again, if you want to go back to Tartaria, that's what it was.
Yeah.
We had already reached that. Jesus already came back. That already happened. We had already been there. So we're past that. We're towards the revelation. Yes, but it's not really just Jesus coming back, and that's already happened. We've already had our multiple times of our resets and of our people trying to lead us on and things like that. But the problem is, we literally, as a human race, stole time from God and put it in a fucking loop and made ourselves live in what we now call the Matrix.
Yeah.
And it was recently ruptured. We recently got that power back. We got our universe back. We ran off of a 369 currency or current, a field, a frequency. That's what the world runs on, is that 369, the Tesla frequency. That's what we run on. That is Earth's hum. That's what's going.
Right.
But that was disrupted and stolen. And there's a video that I like a lot that explains it. It's called Breaking the Eight. It's so hard to find, but if you find it, you gotta watch it. And
It's
it
called
talks
what?
about how the White Hats basically took a massive energy weapon and fired positively charged ions into the atmosphere, slowly breaking down this virus that took over our system, and broke that code that set it, because we were 369, but then every time you were supposed to get to 9 in that frequency, it got cut to an 8 and restarted.
Wow.
You could finish at that time. Whenever this happened, you start seeing massive levels of you could call it a first 5G wave, the first 5G wave that kind of happened. You start seeing mortality rates rise in infancy, SIDS deaths, deformations, people starting having huge health issues, just a bunch of crazy shit, water getting poisoned, animals mutating. It wasn't just the shift in our world and what humanity did to it. Humanity has barely done a damn thing to this world compared to what evil has done to it. Our world is still, it is healing always. It's alive.
Right.
It has a soul. This world that we live on, if you want to go into some crazy shit, it was an ancient being that we formed out of. It's so heavy. There's so much information. Again, I'm gonna drag us on forever, and I don't want to do that to you. I know you're still fighting with yourself here.
The lady should be coming home shortly, actually. But what was the name of that movie?
Okay, so it's a small documentary. It's probably 15 minutes, if
Okay.
that. And it's called Breaking the Eight.
Breaking the Eight. Got it.
And it talks into what happened and why we are where we are in constellation with what we're doing and how we survive in this realm that we're in and what the matrix is and why nothing seems to look real to us. But we've gotten our world back, and now we're trying to fight for it because it's ours. And we never would have been able to do that without the white hats doing their missions in the background for fucking 100 years, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
This is
But
eerily
basically-
similar. I keep getting this odd vibe of Assassin's Creed through all of this.
Bro, don't get me started. I'm telling you,
I
it's
just,
so real. Okay. I'll send it to you. Okay, I'll send it to you. I don't know how far you've gone into the remote viewing and things like that, or the Space Force and Space Force missions and space military and different things like that. You've got Time Warriors and Mind Travelers.
I'm not that far into it at all.
Oh my
Wow.
god. Well, it's a different world. It's a hard one to swallow because it is so fucking out there, but it makes total sense. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
shoot it
fighting
over.
between realms. You know, we're third dimensional creatures. There's multiple dimensions that you got to fight through, and dimensions run through time. And everything is cyclical. Always
Absolutely.
always moving.
Absolutely. Not progressive, not linear, dude. It doesn't just go up.
It doesn't at all.
No.
And everything's intertwined. Think of it like a DNA strand. Everything that relapses back and forth, we're all one organism. It's a machine.
Right.
It's,
All
it's so hard
interlinked
to
like a double
explain, it's
helix.
just a word.
That's wild. Well, look, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. This is just the first episode. We're just shooting the shit, and we're actually trying to get Theta set up. We were going to do YouTube. I decided, fuck that, though. I think I'll be
Appreciate-
switching to Theta full-time. But we'll be having a lot more
I'll
talks.
probably put a copy of this on my YouTube just to fuck with them, see if it gets taken down.
Yeah, no, you absolutely
But-
should. I got it all recorded.
I don't think we're there yet.
What's that?
I don't think we're there yet with our information to get anything to happen.
No, no. I mean, we'll
I'll
see.
probably sneak a few through before that happens.
I'll definitely.
I'm a pretty unknown
I got it
channel.
recorded. I'll clean it up, and then I'll shoot you a copy via email.
Okay, well, very cool, man. And again, thanks for taking the time to get me up here and talk. It was great to get back with you, man.
You as well.
And I look forward to doing this again. And again, the people watching, thanks for jumping in and just checking this out. Whether you stayed or not, I'm just glad you saw something and decided to click on it. You know, that's intuition speaking right there.
Everything for a reason.
So just stay positive, do what you do, and we'll be back around.
We will definitely be back around. Be the change you guys want to see in the world. That's all we
right.
can do.
And for me, I'm working on that personally, trying to be a more positive person because I'm pretty negative. So I've been really working on that.
Lassen mentioned something over Facebook about it, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start being a little bit more positive too. It's
Yeah.
hard, man. It's hard to stay up in these times. It is.
It is. It is. Well, what I've been doing lately is it's not my life, you know, it's the world that is important. I'm just a little speck in all this that's going on.
Hmm.
And it's hard for us to step next to ourselves and stare at us and tell us we're not important. We need to see what's really going on. So that's the biggest thing that I've taken away from this is just it's not about me. It's not about my world. It's not about what I want. Because we're not going to have any of that if we can't wake people up
Right.
and get them to, you know, take up arms in whatever way they can without, you know, being violent or stupid. But by take up arms, I mean, get out there, start a channel. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm trying to do it.
Right.
I've got a lot of information that I want to get out there. That, a lot of it's just my opinion. It's shit that I've bashed through. It's shit that I've been up all night just drunk as fuck, digging around on the internet for something to interest me. But, just do your research. Get out there. And if we say anything that kind of hits you or you want to figure it out or, we mention something that you haven't heard of before, throw it in the comments. Be like, fucking go back on that. We might not do it right away. We might catch it later, and maybe we'll cover it on a later episode or something. But always ask questions. There's QED is the most important thing I ever learned. Question every detail. Don't ever just hear something and just, okay, yeah, through one ear, out the other. It doesn't work that way. If you want to really find something, or something catches you, or something really pulls you in a gut feeling like I need to look at this, or I don't trust it, by all means, man, get out there and fucking do something. Do some work. Don't be pissed off because somebody says something you don't want to hear, or somebody's saying something that doesn't make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense and you want to know, but you click on the page, motherfucker. If you want to know what's going on, go find it.
Absolutely.
Don't sit there and be upset and say these guys are a waste of time. I mean, I might be, but Dylan's not wasting his time. This motherfucker's running on it.
No.
But
Nobody out there is a waste of time. Nobody.
Pay attention.
Like Thomas
Everybody's
says, though,
gotta-
too, I agree 100% with everything he just said. The world's lacking critical thinking. You don't like something you hear, ask yourself why you don't like it, and look into it and see what's going on. Step out of the box, because we're not going to move forward without stepping out of the box.
And if you're really that dead inside that you want to just keep switching through things, then you know how to get on the page. You can get off. You don't got to stay there. Don't be talking shit. Don't say, these guys are full of shit, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't give a fuck. You say what you want, but be respectful. There's people who want to just get answers from other people. You listen to the same 7-8 people every day, you're not going to hear new shit. You're going to hear the same vibration, the same run-on, the same information coming out. It's going to be new information every time, but it's given to you from that person's aspect, their point of view, how they see it. You need to get more than one point of view so you can understand something. Because people might think about something a way that you never did before. And you need to see the world through other people's eyes too. We're all one organism. We all need to work together.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I got to say, bro. I got to get out of here. It's running pretty late for me.
Yeah, me too. Hey, look, it was good talking to you.
For sure. Much love, brother.
Let's do this again. Much love to you as well. Let's definitely do this again. Thank you guys out there. We will be back another time. I'll message you right now, Thomas.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Good night, buddy.
Night.